A tragic end. March 19, 1982. Randy Rhoads was only 25 years old when his life was cut short in a tragic plane accident. While on tour in Florida, the band's bus driver, who was also a licensed pilot, decided to take a small plane for a joyride. Randy was reluctant to go, but he got in. Moments later, the plane clipped the tour bus, spun out of control, and crashed. Randy was killed instantly. The world lost one of its brightest stars that day. A legacy that lives forever. Randy Rhoads may have only lived for 25 years, but his influence is eternal. He changed the way guitar was played. He inspired countless musicians, from Zakk Wylde to Yngwie Malmsteen to Kirk Hammett. His solos are studied, dissected, and admired by guitarists across the globe. He left behind only 2 studio albums with Ozzy, but those 2 albums reshaped heavy metal forever. He proved that you don't need to live recklessly to be a rock star. That true greatness comes from passion, dedication, and an unrelenting love for your craft. Final words, the lesson of Randy Rhoads. Randy Rhoads' story is not just about music, it's about purpose. He never let ego drive him. He never lost sight of what mattered. He played every note with meaning, every solo with heart. And in the end, isn't that what we all want? To do something meaningful. To leave behind something that lasts. Randy Rhoads did just that. He may be gone, but every time someone picks up a guitar and plays those first few notes of Crazy Train, his spirit lives on. His time was short, but his impact. Forever. The unbreakable spirit of Randy Rhoads. It's one thing to be talented. It's another to be truly dedicated. Randy Rhoads embodied both. His rise to fame wasn't an accident, it was the result of years of relentless work, an undying hunger for improvement, and an unwavering belief in the power of music. Even as a child, he wasn't just playing the guitar, he was living it. While other kids were outside playing, Randy was inside practicing. While others were satisfied with being good, he was obsessed with being great. That dedication was what set him apart. But Randy didn't just push himself. He inspired others. He wasn't the kind of guitarist who showed off just to impress people. He wanted to teach, to share his knowledge, to lift others up. He would sit with aspiring musicians and patiently teach them techniques, showing them that anything was possible if they were willing to put in the work. That's why, to this day, Randy isn't just remembered as a legendary guitarist. He's remembered as a teacher, a mentor, and a guiding force for those who dream of making music their life. What we can learn from Randy Rhoads. Randy's story is about more than music, it's about how to live. He showed us that true success comes from passion. That talent means nothing without hard work. That humility is just as important as skill. He never let fame change him. Even when he became a star, he still took time to practice for hours every day. He still carried his classical guitar with him everywhere, always looking to learn something new. He still treated everyone around him with kindness and respect. In an industry known for ego and excess, Randy Rhoads was a rare gem, a man who let his music speak for itself. Gone, but never forgotten. Nearly half a century has passed since that tragic day in 1982, yet Randy Rhoads remains one of the most celebrated and influential guitarists of all time. His music still electrifies audiences. His solos still give chills. His name is still spoken with admiration by every serious rock guitarist in the world. And that's because Randy wasn't just another musician. He was a force of nature. A reminder that greatness isn't about how long you live, but what you do with the time you have. So the next time you hear the opening riff of Crazy Train, remember, those aren't just notes. That's the sound of a young man who refused to settle, who poured everything he had into his craft, and who left behind a legacy that will never fade. Randy Rhoads didn't just play music. He became it. And that's why he'll live forever. Randy Rhoads, the guitar genius who left us too soon. Some legends are born, others are made, but a rare few burn so brightly that even in their short time on earth, they changed the world forever. Randy Rhoads was one of those rare souls. His name is spoken with reverence in the world of rock and heavy metal. He wasn't just a guitarist, he was a pioneer, a visionary, and an artist whose influence still echoes through generations of musicians. His life was tragically short, but his impact immortal. Today, we're diving into the incredible journey of Randy Rhoads, a boy who picked up a guitar and became one of the greatest musicians of all time. A childhood of music and passion. Randall William Rhoads was born on December 6, 1956, in Santa Monica, California, into a family that lived and breathed music. His mother, Dolores Rhoads, was a music teacher who owned Musonia School of Music, where Randy's passion for playing was nurtured from an early age. At just 6 years old, he started playing the guitar. Unlike many kids who pick up an instrument as a hobby, Randy had an obsession. He practiced relentlessly, pushing himself to learn everything he could. His love for classical music blended with his growing interest in rock, and this fusion would become the signature sound that set him apart from every other guitarist of his time. By his teenage years, he had already mastered the guitar in ways that few could match. He was small in stature, but his talent was larger than life. Quiet Riot, the first taste of stardom. Randy's first real breakthrough came when he co-founded the band Quiet Riot in the mid-1970s. While the band didn't achieve massive commercial success at the time, it was here that Randy started building his reputation as an electrifying guitarist. His solos were mind-blowing, his technique flawless. Quiet Riot became a staple in the Los Angeles rock scene, playing in clubs like the Starwood and the Whiskey A Go Go. Fans who saw Randy perform knew they were witnessing something special. He didn't just play the guitar, he made it sing, cry, and scream all at once. But fate had bigger plans for him. The call from Ozzy Osbourne. By 1979, Ozzy Osbourne had been fired from Black Sabbath and was looking for musicians to launch his solo career. A mutual friend suggested Randy Rhoads. Randy wasn't sure what to expect when he walked into that audition. He had no idea he was about to change the course of rock history. He didn't even have to play a full song. As soon as he warmed up with a few scales, Ozzy knew he had found something extraordinary. He immediately hired Randy, and just like that, a legendary partnership was born. Randy was only 22 years old. Blizzard of Oz, a new era of metal. When Blizzard of Oz was released in 1980, it was more than just an album, it was a revolution. Randy's guitar work on tracks like Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley was unlike anything anyone had ever heard. His ability to blend classical influences with heavy metal riffs redefined what the genre could be. And it wasn't just his technique, it was his soul. Every note he played had emotion, precision, and passion. He wasn't just playing fast to show off, he was creating something timeless. The world took notice. Blizzard of Oz was a massive success, and suddenly, Randy Rhoads was a star. Diary of a Madman, pushing boundaries. Fresh off the success of their first album, Ozzy and Randy went back into the studio for Diary of a Madman, released in 1981. This album pushed Randy's genius even further. Songs like Flying High Again and Over the Mountain showcased his technical mastery, while Diary of a Madman itself was a hauntingly beautiful piece that combined heavy metal with classical composition. Randy was no longer just a great guitarist, he was becoming a legend. But despite his rising fame, he remained humble. The reluctant rock star. Randy never cared about being a rock star. He didn't drink heavily, didn't indulge in the destructive lifestyle many musicians did. What he truly loved was music. In fact, as his fame grew, he started considering leaving rock behind to study classical guitar full-time. He wanted to evolve, to learn more, to push his boundaries even further. He didn't want to be remembered as just another flashy guitarist. He wanted to be remembered as an artist. But he never got that chance.